Certainly the most enigmatic character that surfaced during the course of the research for this book was the Colonel. I first met the Colonel when he introduced himself to me after I had delivered a lecture at a UFO conference held in Henderson, Nevada in November 2003. At the time, he presented himself simply as someone with an interest in UFOs who had read some of my books. We spoke for a few minutes about allegations of UFO crashes in Britain and then went our separate ways. Shortly afterward, the Colonel contacted me and apologized for having initially misled me about his true intentions for getting to know me. He had something he wanted to tell me. That's from the Chapter 10, Desert Secrets, in the book Body Snatchers in the Desert, The Horrible Truth at the Heart of the Roswell Story by Nick Redfern. Nick Redfern is a really good author, and this book is a very interesting take on what may or may not have happened at Roswell, and I highly recommend it. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. It is not over until the fat lady sings, friends. It looks like the healthcare battle is coming down to a head and things are leaning badly for us. Even Dennis Kucinich, who I thought had some degree of integrity, has now decided to switch his vote and vote for the healthcare reform legislation. Now, I want to make one thing clear here. Okay, I see a lot of talk from people opposed to this measure because it is a government takeover of healthcare, and nothing could be further from the truth. What they're trying to do is systematically destroy any government care by cutting Medicaid by hundreds of billions of dollars and forcing people into private insurance companies. Do you understand that? This is not a government takeover of healthcare. Yes, there is a mandate that you buy health insurance, whether you fucking want it or not. And I hope that that comes before the courts to challenge it. Okay? And that's something that we're going to see down the road, because some states are taking measures right now to combat this in case it does pass. But as I said, the fat lady has not fucking sung her song yet. So keep at it. Just like I'm keeping at it. And as much as I tell you to do things, to take action, know that I am doing that myself. I am calling, I am writing. I even sent a very nasty email to Dennis Kucinich. I tried to call him yesterday, but of course his messaging system was full. And I have no doubt that the vast majority of those calls were pretty nasty towards him for changing his vote. I don't know how they paid him off, what they bribed him with, what they used as leverage over him, but it's quite obvious that even this one lone soul of integrity can be bought out, and that should serve as a warning to everybody who would want to vote for any of the establishment candidates. So, the fat lady has not sung. Please, please keep at this, because the vote looks like it's going to take place over this coming weekend, and we still have time to make an impact. So, for God's sake, if you care at all about the ramifications of this horrendous healthcare reform, then keep at it with your representatives in Congress. We have to force the issue here. There has to be a line that we cannot cross. Now, some other things that you can do that I have talked about, and this is not related to healthcare, but some things that you can do to express your displeasure with the government and their intrusion into your lives. I told you before that when the census arrived to me, I would only do the constitutional thing, and that is to write in the number of people that reside at my residence. That is exactly what I did. I filled out my form and I sent it back. I suggest that you do that. I suggest that everybody who gets the census fill in the number of people who live at your residence, and that is it. I feel we have a constitutional duty to answer that question. And for those of us who feel that the Constitution should be followed, the Constitution is the highest authority in the land, then you must accept the responsibility that it puts upon you as well. Therefore, not filling out the form or lying on the form is counterproductive to that particular position. You cannot have it both fucking ways. I'm sorry. But whatever you decide to do, that's your own personal decision. I'm giving you my advice. My advice is to fill out the form only in that one question. How many people reside in your residence? Put the number in there, close up the form, stick it in the envelope, and mail it. And I think that is an act of civil disobedience against the government. And if enough people do that, it's very unlikely that there will be any ramifications from it. And it will send a powerful message to the government that we are not going to have you digging into our lives and wanting to know every detail of whatever happens to us ever. So that is one thing that can be done. Now, I have not been able to confirm anything yet, but it appears that the census has partnered with IBM. That's correct, IBM. The same corporation that helped the Nazis count and keep track of all of the prisoners in their various concentration camps during World War II. The same IBM apparently contracted with the Census Department in order to tabulate and collate the data that is gathered during the census. Now, I'm going to investigate this. I'm going to look into who exactly is handling this information, who has access to it while it is being tabulated, etc., etc. And I expect to have an update to you sometime over the next month or two. You know how bureaucracies are. You know, even though I may send out letters, it does take a while for these fuckers to get back to me because it's all bureaucracy and it's all got to go through 50,000 fucking channels before somebody reads it that can answer the fucking question. Okay, so I'm going to look into exactly who is counting us, what corporations are involved, where this is taking place, who are the people that are actually handling the data, etc., etc. I've heard rumors, unconfirmed rumors, that this information is farmed out to India. So we do not even have U.S. citizens, according to rumor, counting the data that is gathered during the census. It's sent out to fucking India. Now, I am going to attempt to find out the truth of that right from the source. And I'll let you know when I do, if I do. So, the other issue along the lines of my last video was about fluoride in the water and how a lot of this is coming from China and it is adulterated and contaminated. I've already contacted my local water authority and specifically asked them where they get their fluoride from, what form it is in, and whether or not they test themselves the content of the material that they add to our water. Now, of course, I'm completely against fluoridated water. If you want to use fluoride because you think it has a dental benefit, then use fucking fluoride toothpaste. You can make the decision yourself. You do not need to be medicated on a mass scale by the fucking government. So, I think it's important that I look into this a little bit more because this is what I do. So I'm going to check with beverage manufacturers and those who can products and use a lot of water in the production of them in order to determine how many of these companies use fluoridated water in the production of their products. And hopefully I'll have something to say on that in the future. And then the question then becomes, if a little bit is okay, and that's what the dentists are always fucking telling you, it's only like 1 part per million or something like that, and it's going to give you dental health benefits and not have any repercussions on your body. And that's in the water that you drink. Imagine if all of these other companies that produce canned vegetables and soups and beverages and everything else use fluoridated water and you're getting fluoride from those sources. Is that not then raising the level up to a point where there is concern, I intend to have some answers, hopefully. So, keep fighting on health care, civil disobedience on the census, and take some action on fluoride in your local community and see what you can do to find out exactly where this stuff comes from. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that what we're doing is we are buying toxic fucking waste from Chinese manufacturing plants and dumping it in our water and paying for it to boot. Thank you. Good night.